The beauty of basketball lies in its ability to blend moments of raw athleticism, clutch execution, and emotional storytelling into one unbroken stream of theater, and that is exactly what unfolded across a stretch of games and debates that not only showcased the brilliance of individual stars on the hardwood, but also reignited long-standing conversations about legacy, greatness, and the unfair labels often attached to generational players. Kevin Durant opened the show by settling into rhythm, dropping an early 6 points in the first quarter, his smooth jumpers reminding everyone of his effortless scoring arsenal. But the real spectacle came from Nikola Jokic, whose uncanny shot-making defied explanation and physics as he buried awkward off-balance jumpers, bank shots, and even a desperate, high-arcing three as Anthony Davis closed out helplessly. Every possession Jokic touched turned into a masterclass of touch, creativity, and confidence that left defenders shaking their heads and fans buzzing. Then came the iconic reminder from LeBron James, who, even on his 39th birthday, refused to let time dictate his dominance, drilling a buzzer beater that forced overtime and reignited the never-ending debate about his place in the hierarchy of clutch performers, proving that even after 2 decades of brilliance, he could still summon moments that silenced critics and energized believers. As if that weren't enough, Luka Doncic seized his moment under playoff pressure, shaking defenders with his trademark stepbacks, taunting Timberwolves fans with smirks and gestures, and proving once again that, despite struggles from deep earlier in the game, he thrives when the spotlight burns brightest. His confidence under duress confirmed that his stardom is not only about statistics but also about intangibles that separate good players from transcendent ones. Jalen Suggs injected youthful electricity, pestering ball handlers for steals and exploding in transition for dunks that lit up the crowd, his energy swinging momentum as if he had plugged the arena into his veins, while Drew Holiday displayed his steady veteran craft, knocking down contested fadeaways that only underscored how valuable his all-around reliability remains on any contending roster. Damian Lillard, of course, gave us another Dame-time performance, hitting a miraculous 4-point play and then calmly burying a dagger 3 in the closing seconds to ice a game, a sequence that has become so routine for him that fans almost forget how improbable such consistent late-game heroics truly are, and Jamal Crawford reminded everyone why his crossover is legendary, leaving defenders stumbling as he danced into vintage buckets that felt like echoes from a different era of flair and improvisation. Kawhi Leonard, never flashy but always impactful, produced a highlight of his own with a suffocating defensive stop that morphed into a transition score, his stoic demeanor underscoring how defense can be every bit as thrilling as offense when executed at the highest level, while Ja Morant provided the Knights' adrenaline rush with his blazing speed and ferocious slam. A reminder that his athleticism belongs in the pantheon of jaw-dropping talents to ever grace the league. Tyrese Halliburton chipped in his own version of late-game brilliance, orchestrating possessions with poise and drilling jumpers that kept Indiana alive, while his teammate Miles Turner threw down thunderous dunks that energized his team and swung momentum at crucial junctures, embodying the blend of finesse and force that defines modern big men. DeMar DeRozan, often underappreciated for his old-school reliance on mid-range artistry, came alive in crunch time, drilling dagger jumpers that forced overtime and once again proving that in the moments that matter most, his shot selection is not outdated but timeless. Chris Middleton provided another miracle by hitting a game-tying 3 at the buzzer, his calm under chaos emblematic of why Milwaukee has trusted him for so many playoff battles, and Julius Randle capped the night with a clutch corner 3 in the dying seconds, his shot saving New York in a way that reminded fans how the city lives and dies with its stars. All of these individual feats not only demonstrated the endless capacity for basketball to thrill, but also provided a backdrop for the larger conversation swirling around the sport, one that has reignited following Gilbert Arenas' controversial comments comparing Kobe Bryant to Scottie Pippen and framing the Laker legend as a sidekick during his years with Shaquille O'Neal. Arenas argued that the sidekick label was a creation of media manipulation, designed to shield Michael Jordan's legacy from Kobe's inevitable rise, but his critique quickly unraveled when fans pointed out the contradiction of simultaneously condemning the label as unfair and then repeating it himself. His words struck a nerve because they ignored the reality of Kobe's contributions, like averaging over 26 points in the grueling 7-game 2002 Western Conference Finals against Sacramento. Performances that no mere sidekick could have delivered. Ron Harper, who played alongside both Bryant and O'Neal, dismissed the sidekick narrative outright, emphasizing that teammates in the locker room knew exactly who was contributing what, and his testimony carried more credibility than that of outside commentators. Fans, too, reacted fiercely, calling arenas disrespectful and pointing out the irony of a player who never won a championship criticizing the accomplishments of someone who captured 5 rings. Vanessa Bryant, who rarely engages critics, felt compelled to defend her late husband's legacy, a gesture that demonstrated how deeply such comments resonated beyond box scores and highlight reels, while former teammate Matt Barnes added his voice, lending even more weight to the pushback since he had first-hand experience competing with and against the game's greatest players. Arenas tried to bolster his case by bringing up Dwayne Wade's 2006 championship as an example of a young star leading a team to glory, but that comparison fell apart quickly because Wade was 24 at the time, not 21 to 23 like Kobe during the early three-peat years, and because no two championship contexts are identical. If anything, the comparison made Kobe's achievements at a younger age seem even more remarkable. Arenas did make a fairer point when he acknowledged that every championship roster needs multiple stars and that the notion of a perfect number 2 should not be conflated with the demeaning term sidekick. He even credited Pau Gasol as Kobe's perfect number 2 during their back-to-back titles in 2009 and 2010, but this acknowledgement only highlighted the inconsistency in his argument, because if Pau could be praised as a perfect number 2 without diminishing Kobe, then why couldn't Kobe be seen the same way alongside Shaq? Ultimately, the backlash against Arenas underscored a broader truth. Greatness in basketball is rarely a solo endeavor, and labels like sidekick often oversimplify complex partnerships where both players elevate each other to heights neither could reach alone. Kobe Bryant was never just a secondary figure. He was a prodigy who transformed into a leader, who evolved from a teenager throwing up airballs in Utah to a 5-time champion, 2-time finals MVP, and global icon whose influence extended far beyond the hardwood. Nights like the ones that produced highlight reels of Jokic's circus shots, LeBron's buzzer beater, Luka's smirks, Dame's daggers,